Oh yeah, I can hear it.
Where's the link? Is it on your streams now?
Yeah, I put a link in my story.
All right, I'll pull from wherever.
Boom. 17 seconds in, and we are live. Welcome to another live stream, my beautiful weirdos. We've grown since the last time that we met. Last time it was Brendan Herrera and his near congressional run victory. Today it is Russians who have brought Russian warships down to Cuba. So we're gonna have another Bay of Pigs. Basically, we've got Russian ships that are on near the border of Florida, anchoring in Cuba. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a couple ships and there's a nuclear sub. I'm excited to see what Florida Man's gonna do. I can't wait to see the airboats just going over the Gulf, through the ocean, landing in Cuba, and us finally making Cuba a state. It's just going to happen. And with me today is our frequent flyer. Oh, geez, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. There he is, veteran with a sign, Zachary. He's got a sign in the back that says "You're worth fighting for," which just reminds me, you stole that from Mulan. A girl worth fighting for.
That's a good song. The best song in Mulan is "I'll Make a Man Out of You," Mr. I'll
make a man out of you.
Yeah.
Bam,
They talk
bam,
about like the moon, hungry like the moon. Like it's.
I'm as fast as the something.
I'm gonna sing, dude. I'm gonna sing this. I can't wait, dude. Hey, for, long-time listener.
My favorite one is let's get down to business. To defeat.
That's it. No.
The Huns.
Down to business.
Yes.
To defeat
the Russians. See how I changed it there? Because
you made it modern.
Yeah.
Also, the new Mulan sucked, but
did it? Because she was. Yeah, it was like because it followed none of the original storyline, which was about a woman trying to find herself, and then eventually the culmination of a man and a woman together, unifying their love for one another and one's country. All these good things roll up into one. Oh, you're saying the new selfish one, all about I need to be independent and I don't need a man. They're ruining all the Disney movies. Nobody wants to be the new Mulan. They want to be the old Mulan. They want to be a princess. They want to have power. They want to have a dude fight for them and then their life to be happy ever after with those two working as a team.
That's what they want.
Super.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
I'm a father.
Go on.
I've got daughters. Mulan, the animated, top tier in the household. The girls love it. It's the story of a young girl who goes on to fulfill the legacy of her father, and gender doesn't stop her. That doesn't stop her from being the most successful warrior. That's the whole point, is that she can honor her father's legacy and everything as a girl. It doesn't have to be a boy. It's one of the most beautiful stories between a father and a daughter in Disney's catalog. And then
the only bad thing is that it's communist China. That's it.
Look at that. All right. Hey, Nick wouldn't watch it. No son of mine's gonna watch Mulan.
Oh, it's hard to hear, Zach. Sound is quiet on his end. Dude, Discord has been fucking up.
I'm sorry, guys. Don't blame us. They're suppressing us right now because they're in Cuba. Dude, right. Maybe Magneto will go down there and save us. If anybody's watched X-Men lately.
I've got your right. I've got your volume turned up now. So your Discord volume.
If you're listening,
all right, now you're just streaming in the mic.
Okay, if you're listening, you need to go over to the Veteran with a Sign YouTube page. Hit the subscribe. Check out the After Action podcast. My most viewed, my most ever interacted with episode is with none other than Angry Cops, where me and my incredible, astonishing, brave, handsome friend Rich, when times were tough, he was tougher. He didn't blink, by my side, to a point where my wife looked at me and said, he might be one of your best friends. And I was like, yeah, Rich is.
You're not supposed to tell people I'm a good person. I'm supposed to be an asshole. I'm supposed to be the internet's drill sergeant Nobody knows that we do good things, right? We do good things behind. Nobody knows about them, right? Because it's our duty. All right. It's my duty to make sure that you're safe because you're my friend. And nobody else needs to know that. Nobody needs to know how hard I fight for my friends.
Back to back, just cutting and jabbing. And one person even asked me about the whole fiasco, which we won't really mention. They said, man, that Angry Cops guy, he went at him. And I said, well, he kind of just told the truth. And
kind of held back, too.
Know, we held back. But I'm excited to be here. Let's talk about how the Bay of Pigs is happening in 2024.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get on that. Let me finagle some screen moving around here.
We're just gonna move some screens. I'm gonna tell you guys about some other stuff here. What else said today? So that sign back there, June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Side note,
no,
it was signed by Sergeant Major Grenston
of
the United States Army. Huh?
Go on.
I know. He signed it, and I interviewed him in 2021. Sergeant Major of the Army, Sergeant Major Grenston, a great man. He held that up. And, if you or anyone you know is struggling, please reach out to your bros. Please reach out to your friends, your guys, your gals, whoever. You're worth fighting for.
You're the one worth fighting for.
Dude, Mulan is such a bop, dude.
We're going to show up late, Todd. This guy's name is Size Matters on YouTube. That's a fantastic name. All right. So, Bay of Pigs, right? I've got things pulled up.
Uh-huh. How do I view that? Do I got to pull up the YouTubes?
Yeah, you can pull up the YouTube so you can see what I'm on.
All right.
I would mute that, but you only need half the screen. So should we talk about what? So this is a replay of Bay of Pigs. Should we do a little bit of like a Nick Fat Electrician kind of moment and go over a little bit of the Bay of Pigs?
Yes.
All right. How familiar are you with the Bay of Pigs? Because I'm only vaguely familiar with it. I know that it happened during the Kennedy administration. And basically what happened was there was like Russians in Cuba and Americans were like, we're freaked out. And JFK was like, okay, cool. We're going to do a flyover real quick and just make sure that they're just doing humanitarian aid like they're supposed to. And a couple planes go through and take some photos, and they get shot at. And before, they even fly, the president goes, no matter what, you're not getting shot at. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm not going to create a war over this. He was trying to get out of Vietnam. And so the pilot's like, well, yeah, I didn't get shot. I hit some 50 caliber birds though in my fucking plane, and took a bunch of photos. And it was, Russians doing military exercises and, planting. Well, the big fear was that they were going to be planting missiles there or missile silos there with the potential of a nuclear strike on Americans, right? Having that close attack space. So they go over there, they get the photos. Kennedy's like, oh, see, look at these photos. You guys fucking suck. You said you were just doing some humanitarian aid. You're not. You're putting military shit closer to us. It's really pissing me off. And then what? Didn't we like send troops in, or we didn't send troops in? There was like an embargo.
We put troops on the ground, which is basically everything you're saying is as I understand it, as much bro science as there is. But we put troops on the ground, and I don't know exactly what happened. I think a bunch of old timers will tell you that we did some business out there. But the main issue was, well, not the main issue. Kennedy himself was very weary of getting into another war, obviously. He served in World War II. I think he was in the Navy. So he had a lot of his background against that.
Who, Kennedy?
He was also a guy who,
Kennedy was in the Navy, yeah.
He was in the Navy. What I'm saying is, like, it helps to have people that have been in actual war when times like this happen, you know what I'm saying? And so the communists at that time were still kind of pretty strong and growing, and they definitely wanted Cuba, which we didn't want, right? We didn't want them so close to us, right? There, I believe there's also trade stuff that was happening, so we were putting embargoes on it and everything else. And then if I remember correctly, Professor Charles Xavier and his team then flew in to stop the missiles.
So it looks like
literally the plot.
It looks like we did invade. We did invade Cuba, and like there was a bunch of mishaps. Like our bombers were super old, and they missed a bunch of targets. And once they missed the targets, Castro was like, "Oh, it's on," and put 20,000 troops on the beach to like prevent the advancement.
Yes, because the whole thing was it was a game of chicken, right? That's how I always took it. It's a game of chicken between us and the Soviets. And, we're not really willing to do that much because their whole thing was to show us that they can reach out and touch us with their
So
nuclear armament.
yeah, some people escaped. There were some exiles that helped in too, but 1,200 members of Brigade 2506, which I guess is like the secret term for the brigade, ended up surrendering, and more than 100 were killed. The brigade prisoners they were in captivity for 20 months. They negotiated a deal with Castro. Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy, somebody's dad, who's now running, the man himself running for president. Dude, Truck, you got to stop giving me all your money, dude. Like $5 in there is cool, man. You're giving me like $100 a stream. You're killing me, man. I feel like I'm stealing from you.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Truck, though.
Yeah.
Shout out to Truck. Take care of yourself, buddy. Truck Senpai. Oh, 200. Brother.
Dude, I know. This is like the third time that he's done it.
Hey, Truck. You're a good fella.
Yeah.
Everyone check out Truck Senpai. Truck_Senpai.
I mean, I don't know if he actually has a YouTube channel.
Work?
I don't know if he wants to get that attention. I think we're gonna send thousands of people to his fucking doorstep. He's gonna be like, no, no, I just want to say thank you.
My only chat for the day. Always God tier streams with the daddy boys.
Zaddy daddies.
It's all oddly sexual now. Sexual now.
He can say whatever he wants. He puts $200 in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's gas money, baby.
Yeah.
Ass grass or cash.
Especially in this economy. Whoa.
Thanks, Joe Biden. What's up with his new secretary, too? Oh, we're going to go over that. There's a link with his new press secretary. And she, let's just say she dropped the ball. Not a lot of information there. But anyway, to finish the Bay of Pigs, Robert F. Kennedy made personal pleasing contributions. They settled on $53 million worth of baby food and medicine in exchange for the prisoners. And then just 2 months after the end of the Cuban Missile Crisis, plane containing the first group of free prisoners landed in the United States. A week later, they gathered in a ceremony at the Miami's Orange Bowl.
That's kind of weird.
I can assure you, oh my God, this is a bad quote. President Kennedy, in the Miami Bowl, in Miami's Orange Bowl, while gathered for a ceremony where the brigade's flag was handed over to President Kennedy, he stated, "I can assure you that this flag will be returned to this brigade in a free Havana." Womp, womp.
Missed that one.
Yep.
Swing and a miss on that one.
So there you go.
What bothers me is that the more things change, the more they stay the same. I mean, I don't know enough about anything, but if I remember correctly, so history repeating itself, right? We're literally in a position similar to what Russia was when we started moving troops over by Ukraine, right?
So that was going to be
basically what he said.
That's basically it. So it's kind of like this weird, it's like this weird, like, oh, you could do it, but I can't do it. It's in a very basic sense, right? We're talking here, not picking sides. I'm just saying what I've seen, right? So starts off with like Crimea, right? Russia's, being a pain in the ass to Ukraine. The United Nations or NATO has grown. The point of NATO was to prevent, communism from spreading, the Eastern Bloc countries, and keeping a buffer and saying, hey, we're not going to let the communists take us, all over. Well, the communists are gone, but not because Russia's, even though no longer communist, still very interested in taking back all of its old satellite states. So,
yeah.
NATO grows, gets to Poland. Now, like, the only border country between NATO and Russia is Ukraine. Not, however, like Norway and like Poland, those northern countries up there do directly border Russia, and a couple of them are in NATO. So it's not like he hasn't had NATO on his border already. And the Swedes are really good at killing Russians.
Yes, they are.
They've been doing it for a while, and expertly so. So then Russia says, okay, cool. You keep putting up missiles and shit and training all the countries, on the opposite side of Ukraine than me, and now you're training Ukraine. You don't get to put missiles or military people on the country directly next to me. Fuck you. And we say, fuck you. Russia takes over Crimea. We build up the military support for Ukraine because we're like, well, we kind of see the writing on the wall. Russia begins this fake kind of border war where there's like the Donetsk province and something else where there's Russian separatists. Donbass and like the Donetsk. I think Donetsk is maybe a different one or a different city.
Everyone should follow Preston Stewart. He covers this stuff.
Yeah, he was going to be on here today, but he's got a cold. So thanks a lot, Preston. You can fucking...
a West Point guy?
He can send me all the links that he can, all on Telegram, a thing I don't fucking have because I'm not a fucking super nerd, and it's a clunky thing. I don't have enough time to be on 80 different social medias, man. Like I have a life.
Channels and stuff. It's not as fun as you think.
I was really hoping to have a subject matter expert on it, like Preston, on here today to talk about it. But now it's just two retards talking about the basic bare knowledge that we have, which is pretty much all of America, right? A limited knowledge, and we're just trying to figure things out. Anywho, so Russia, the separatist movement starts in like 2016, 2017. The Donbass regions and stuff like that. There's like 2 or 3 states that are like potentially separating, and Russia's helping them out. Although we did help kind of, the democratic system in Ukraine take over in like 2014. Really put some money into that one when they decided that they wanted to revolt against their elected president.
Yeah.
Will, however, say though, they literally like marched on their capital in Ukraine. It wasn't like all America. Like hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians marched on their capital. Yeah. We're like, this is bullshit. You rigged the elections. Fuck this. So like, I'd love to say it's all America's fault here, but we didn't start the fire, but we did fan the flames. I'll put it that way. That's my understanding.
That's what Green Berets do.
Insurgency, counterinsurgency, baby. Oh, what's that? Hey, somebody we don't like? Do you need some assistance? Let us train you.
You guys want to revolt? Here you go. Let me count you off a little bit. Hey.
Let me teach you how to shoot. So,
hey, I bet they could carry an AK-47 really well. Come on, get your grandpa. Get your kids. Come on.
Everybody join in. Everybody join in.
These guys suck, right?
Right.
Bunch of dudes that are doctors without borders being like, man, this country used to be great.
Bro, you nailed it. Doctors without borders. Totally. Totally.
They look like us, but as Doctors Without Borders with like tattoos being like, "Hi, I'm a doctor."
They need to wear some more white coats. They're standing out now.
Hey, I'm here. But listen, guys. Here's the thing: it's a Bay of Pigs, an oinkery as they call it, and it's scary. It's scary how similar it is to what triggered the Russian-Ukraine war. It's scary to how eerily similar it is to the exact thing that happened in the Bay of Pigs. And like now we're back at it. We're literally back at this same kind of turning point. Let
me hit up some people in the chat before we go any further. Kate's
it's just weird
saying that there's Tulsa Towers is gonna plan for a 91 unit apartment in Chihuahua for homeless vets. That's cool. That's neat. Chihuahua is a neighboring town of the city of Buffalo. Daniel Todd says we're talking about communism. I bet Nick can sense it. And it's walking around pissed and doesn't know why. Don't say it 3 times. He's going to show up. I don't have enough streaming power for that shit. Dave says, for an apology to Fat Electrician. Oh, you're the one who doxed him? No, you didn't. Yeah, good job. Good job. Good job, Dave. You didn't dox him. Or I hope you didn't. And either way, don't look back at that. Don't bring any more attention to it, Dave. Maybe we lay low. Maybe we don't talk about the thing. You know what I'm saying?
What happened?
Right?
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now we're here. So now we're funding like Ukraine, like $40 billion over the past year or so. I think it's more. To be like, hey, here, you need to protect yourself. And now Russia's like, all right. So you're giving the people that we're fighting, regardless of if you think it's good or bad, right? Just this is chess now, right? You move a piece towards me, I move a piece in response, right? So Russia's sitting here saying, all right, so you're giving money to Ukraine. people we're at war with. You're giving a
Yeah.
bunch of equipment to Ukraine, which is making Russia look stupid, just decimating Russians. Probably the main reason why Ukraine has pushed Russia back and then is like in this like back and forth trench warfare right now is because
Yes.
of a lot of American moolah and military tech, even if it's old, like 20, 30-year-old shit that we haven't used for forever.
Yep.
Just decimating them. And so now Russia says, all right, you're doing that. I got a friend. You know what? He's really close to you, America. You know, I'm having a war on my border. Why don't you have a war on your border? And let's put a little bit of our fleet action. Let's put some Russian ships, some Russian warships in a sub in Cuba. You know, right off the coast of Florida.
Yep.
Ain't nothing but a half a tank of gas to get from Florida and Cuba. I mean, people be doing it on boats all the time.
All the time.
So
this is really going to ruin my summer vacation plans, by the way. I can feel it already.
You know, I
don't like it.
I've never had, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I've never had a presidency so directly affect my life, and it's negatively in every aspect. Like, COVID vaccinations, instead of, hey, do it if you want, it's, your body, whatever. It's taking them. You better take them. Force people to take them.
Hey.
Like after the whole thing is done, the whole thing is okay. Awesome. Great, grand. Kick everybody out of the military. Sweet. Thanks a lot for that.
Later.
Really glad you did that. Oh, did Afghanistan fall because you had a really bad pullout game? Amazing. Hunter Biden. Amazing. Great. Grand.
Just caught charges. Did you think he would catch charges? You're an enforcer of suppressor of laws. Did you think he would catch those charges?
Yeah. It's pretty obvious. Like, you can't say no to that. The second that came out, now what he serves, the time served, that's another story, right? Yeah, he's guilty. Okay, cool. Yeah, he's guilty. He did it. He signed it. They got the document. You lied. You've been arrested before.
Fines and community service, calling it now. Fines and community service.
Yeah, low fine. Maybe $1 million at most.
I think they might hit him with like $1 million, and he'll wash some of his money through it, and that'll be that.
Mm-hmm. Then what else? Oh, that's right. Russia then decides to do a full invasion into Ukraine. So now now instead of like a little bit of money into Afghanistan to like pay for some helicopters and make sure they've got enough fuel and, hey, we're just going to keep things moving over there. We're going to let the Afghans do most of the fighting, and the Americans, are just there for like making sure that everything's going smoothly and for counterintelligence, which is huge, right? Because with our spaceships and satellites in the sky, we say, hey, your enemies are moving, the Taliban's moving this way. They can go, okay, cool. And then they send in the Afghan commandos. Oh, nope, that's all. Nope. Now we're going to spend all that money times 10 in Ukraine. And the weird thing about it is the Speaker of the House, which blows my mind. He's like, we have to supply Ukraine with all this money. We have to have the Russians fighting, the Ukrainians, because I don't want my son or daughter to go over there. Why would we go over there? It's not our fight. Why would we go into Europe?
That is a weird. I do like that he has an emotional connection to it.
I like that he has his kids are serving. I think the Navy.
For sure. But I don't like how he finishes that sentence. Go over there. We should never go over there.
Why would we go over there?
That's how you finish the sentence. But thankfully, we're not ever going over there. Here's my thing too. I was worried.
You sure? You sure about that?
Yeah. Here's my. I was worried that 2 wars wasn't enough. Right? Afghanistan, that was a moneymaker for us. Now we got the Israel-Palestine thing. That's 1. 2 is Russia and Ukraine. That's just a weird number. That's a weird number of wars. 3 wars. Now we're talking.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? Now we're talking.
Well, now they're not even wars. Now they're conflicts, right? Now it's just like, we're throwing money at a conflict. This is, it's humanitarian aid now.
Dude. Who cares? Come on. If you're doing 2, what's 1 more? You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
come on.
The Nemesis says, hoping when we salvage the Russian ship wreckage, it leads to some nice leaks on War Thunder forums. What we need right now is a good old War Thunder forum leak telling us about the weak armor points in Russian ships. That's what I need right now. Boy, it'd make me feel better.
It'd make me feel better. But yeah, I was worried that two's such a weird number of wars. It's like one for each hand. But,
Oh,
three, now we're talking.
now we're talking. Nate says
You
that
know?
we need to talk to our boy and says, if you want to sound super smart, ask our analyst friend about Mahan's, Mahan, Mahan's world
Who's our
island
analyst?
theory. I do not know what that is. It makes Russian strategic interest for China absolutely clear. Buffalo is basically South Canada, yes, but still the United States, and he loves the content, so appreciate you, Nate. Now I need to look up Mahan's.
Yeah. Want to sound super smart? Mahan's World Island Theory. Okay. Hey, all fellow upstate and wire. Hey, Peter Zach II, shouts out to you. Jesse Girl Casual. No wars. No wars potentially on our shores. Tough choice. Joe Biden at the D-Day ceremony. That.
Like it wasn't that bad. He was trying to sit down, but he was like kind of sitting down but standing up because he wasn't sure when to sit down. Like, I've done that before. Do I stand? Do I sit? Do I stand? Whatever. The thing is, the most recent video of him, like, there's like Kamala next to him with her husband dancing, and he's like, there's another like large black representative or senator, I forget who he is, like dancing, and they're like, yeah, look at this thing, and Biden's just literally
Kirk Franklin at the White House doing like a gospel choir thing. And Joe's like there being like, wow, oh man, they got soul, man. Come on, Kamala, get on stage, Kamala. Like.
Oh, and she did, didn't
and
she?
She does. She did with Kirk Franklin.
So
hey,
the world
OP
island.
Mario, shout out to the Midwest.
Everyone's the interlink. So here it is. According to this guy, world's land surface is divided into the world island, offshore islands, and outlying nations. And the world island comprising the interlinked continents of Africa, Asia, and Europe. Was the largest, most populous, and richest of all possible land combinations. So what you would say here is that with Russia and China's holding of all of that very nice, beautiful land, that they will be able to control the world because, it's oil rich, it's resource rich. And I mean, for those continents that are connected in, Europe, Asia, and, a little bit of Africa, maybe. But although the United States is not as big as everybody thinks it is, right? You can fit like 3 United States in Africa.
Yes.
We also have extremely fertile land and oil, and South America ain't so bad either. And
no, it's got a ton of stuff. South America's got a ton of resources. Argentina's a little weird. History's a little weird, but there's a lot of good stuff there.
Falcon Islands, those Falcon Islands.
Those fucking islands.
Fucking islands. I loved that joke. It's one of my favorite on radio joke things ever. So I agree. I think it's brilliant for over there, but for us not so much. And although that the world island, although you're saying that world island is super important, I would disagree a little bit because this guy was at the publication days in 1904. Post that World War II, because of America's ability to control the seas, and I don't want to say like we own the seas, we kind of do, but we allow free trade through everybody. And by protecting everybody's ability to trade with everyone else, that one island I don't feel like it has as much power as it did, right? Because you don't control all the trade routes now. Not everybody's just going through land. 1904, ships were very difficult, big, bulky, slow. Not a lot of air power, not a lot of air travel. Trade was limited. This is just me bullshitting here. I'm learning about a new topic. So hands up, don't shoot.
Hey,
just some ideas.
2 white guys on the internet.
Hey, man.
Chill out.
I'm just trying to mansplain something that I understand, man. I'm trying to I-splain it.
Yeah, hey, this is what you came for. You came for two whites in their 30s to talk about history.
2 whites in there. Wacky ideas. It should be a shitty TV show on TBS. 2 whites. We got 2 whites and their wacky ideas.
Hey.
All right, let's go back to the chat.
The frog's gay.
They're making The one island, world island's making the frogs gay.
Wow, man. Come on, Kamala.
Dude,
I'm gonna work on my Joe Biden all night now.
My Joe Biden impression is just Will Ferrell's impersonation of Harry Carey. Hey,
Do it.
hey, do you know what? Do you know why Kamala likes dancing? I know I do. He gets up there and shakes and jives. It's amazing. It blows my mind. You guys want a nice cool Budweiser? Hey, you guys got a hot dog or some ice cream?
Would you eat the moon if it was made out of cheese?
I know I would. I'd go back for seconds. Hey. Was it Shorzy says he had my 3-year VA disability physical tomorrow. Should I troll him and say my limp was caused by drinking bottled water that sat in the sun too long? You should. You should say that that's a portion of it. You should say that the microplastics in your testicles, which is a new science thing that came out, the microplastics in your testicles are from the hot water bottles. I'm not even joking. You take that to the bank. You tell them and then say, run my blood tests. I want to show that there's microplastics in my balls from the hot water I had to drink. And they're going to run those tests and they're going to find microplastics in your system because we all have it. Thanks a lot, DuPont. And there you go.
Thank you, DuPont. You guys are great. We appreciate you, Lord Commander DuPont. Fact, if you've been overseas, you've grabbed a bottle of water. If it's set there for a day or two, you don't touch it because it's a thing. I just remember being like, well, I only drink it if I have to. Always cover it up because like the plastic would literally overseas plastic is like thin. Yeah. I always remember like everything. You know what I'm talking about? Like I remember one time, the first time I grabbed a water bottle, I felt like I was doing steroids because I just like squeezed it to like hold it and it collapsed in my hand. You know what I'm talking about?
I did that after you open it, right? The pressure's there, so you grab it and it's like firm, like a big fat cock, and then you twist off the top, and then because the pressure's gone, you're kind of like whoop.
Yeah, but the ones overseas are the worst. It's just...
Oh, my man says this is just a big nothing burger. The Russians do this crap all the time, just like they fly bombers off the coast of Alaska. That's true. It's true.
Yeah, but we have Sarah Palin up there, and she shoots them down.
Yeah, and there's mooses.
Have Sarah Palin in Florida.
And that's also where like the Russian border is. Like the Russian land mass is there. Like it's there. They have bases there. You know where they don't have bases? On the western side of Europe, all the way to Cuba. It's literally Russia and then military bases in Cuba. I'll say they do have some in Africa. But you're talking about, in order to get to Cuba, they're either going through, what's that strait in South America? The Panama Canal.
Panama Canal.
You either go through the Panama Canal, expensive, takes a lot of time. We know you're coming because there you are, you know. You have one.
Wow,
you have
it's
one.
Expensive, Rich.
You have one camera on either end of the canal, and you go, "Oh, look at all these warships."
Wow.
You know, I probably got like a couple hours to let the people know that these are coming through this area, or they have to travel all the way from either Africa or Russia in northern Europe to Cuba. So it's a lot of money to be spent for a nothing burger. It's 100% a message that Russia's sending us. I don't know what.
Yeah. So I'm gonna cook on that.
Cook on it. Cook on it.
On the nothing burger.
Sizzle on it, baby.
In my opinion, it is and it isn't. It is not a full declaration of war. That would be insane.
Yeah.
It for sure is a show of force to basically publicly criticize America for the thing that Russia's asked us not to do. They've done it. It's kind of a gotcha, catch-22 scenario. Because it's literally it's the same tactic that worked before. Realistically, we gave Cuba millions of dollars because of it. So, there's a reason they have those connections there. I don't know what they are exactly. I just know we need Jack Nicholson back down there.
You gotta handle the truth.
Did you order the code red?
You goddamn right I did. The truth is, you need men like me on that wall.
Get him.
That would never.
Santiago's death, tragic as it may be,
is necessary.
Is necessary, yeah. Evening shitheads, thank you. Ah, it must have been my dad. Just kidding, he's dead.
Zing was he on that wall?
No, he wasn't on that wall. You should have listened to Secretary of Defense Mattis never pulled out of Syria. Yeah, we should have never got involved in Syria in the first place.
Never pulled out of Syria. Why? Yeah, I still don't understand why we got into Syria. We tried to assist Syrians in like a civil war.
My understanding of it is that it was being destabilized because of influences from Iran, if I remember correctly. I don't know, but there was like, once Libya went down and all that stuff started happening, that whole area just like destabilized.
Bro, once we went into Iraq and I was there, like once we found out that Saddam Hussein didn't actually, so here's once again, another bird's eye view, right? We go into Iraq. I don't know why we went into it after Afghanistan. There was no terrorists there, very few at least,
WMDs.
Yeah, there was no WMDs. Yeah, he had some like.
We found traces. Okay, easy.
Oh, we found yellow cake uranium.
Remember that? Do you remember that? We were kids and we found yellow cake, and I was just like, "Do I shoot it?"
What happens if I shoot the yellow cake uranium? Does it turn into muffin cake uranium?
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, okay, cool. Now then it was the hunt for Saddam, and then we found him, and then there's a really good movie or in-depth video on the guy that interrogated Saddam, and he did so for like 10 months until finally he got Saddam to to give up a little bit of information accidentally.
Yeah.
And Saddam was like, no, we never had basically he says, no, we never had weapons of mass destruction. We said we did because we need to keep Iran on their toes. We need to keep Iran out of us because we hate Iran and Iran keeps trying to take us over. And then guess what happened the second that we, now that we're in Iraq for how many fucking years? Oh, is it fucking, is ISIS in there? Is Iran just completely owning basically the entire eastern side of Iraq? Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
Pretty much. And oh no, now we need to get into Syria because what? Because Iran's in there? Dude, we started that problem when we were in Iraq and we took away Iran's biggest enemy, Saddam Hussein.
We took out the big dog.
Bro.
The problem with Saddam, from my very limited, dumb understanding, don't cancel me, is this. He really liked to play ball for a little bit, He had a lot of good stuff going.
Love flexing.
We basically used him to influence the entire region. And then he stopped carrying our water, as I understand it. He literally bit the hand that fed him. Was just like,
yeah. Then he tried to assassinate Bush Sr. Previously the head of the CIA, who was helping him, if I'm not mistaken, who was like, "Hey, Saddam, fuck Iran, right? Fuck him, fuck him."
And we took him just like later, took him out in that whole process. It's really crazy when you think about it.
George Washington did not want us meddling in the affairs of Europe, and he also didn't want Europe anywhere near us, which is one reason why like the Spanish-American War kind of happened, is we didn't want the Spaniards in Cuba, and we helped out the Philippines get independence, and then we were like, all right, cool, we own you now. And they were like, the fuck you do? And then, there was a short revolution there against the Philippines after we helped them beat the Spanish. We got Guam out of it, and then that's kind of where we stand now. And then, but for some reason now, especially after World War II, all America can do is just keep getting involved in other countries' bullshit. If we would have just this is just me pontificating, right? I got nothing wrong with the Afghanistan war, right? Killed Taliban, even though the Saudis attacked us. Osama bin Laden was hiding out in Afghanistan. And he owned that area, right? I still say I'm all about bombing Afghanistan. Don't know why we didn't go for Saudi Arabia a little bit more. Maybe some more espionage shit. But either way, Osama bin Laden, who said that it was his fault and took credit for it in Afghanistan, bomb it, blow it to hell, cool, not a problem. But what the fuck? Why do we have to go after Saddam? Because like some old blood feud with Bush Jr. He was the only reason that area was getting held together was because everybody was like, I don't want to fuck with the crazy guy with the mustache. His kids be torturing people. Yeah,
he was the lesser of unknown evils. We knew what he was capable of. The world knew what he was capable of. I think there's even been stuff that's said about him. Like the thing Saddam liked the most was, his power. And so that was good until it got to a point where like it just became too much. But like the man also ultimately lived in like a crazy world of fear. Like he very actively had body doubles for him and like his kids and like everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wouldn't even be certain places, and it was like impossible to tell because his life was under like constant threat. But You know, the only people that are better at making a power vacuum than America is the Dyson Vacuum Company. That's why if you go to Dyson.com
Shut
and use
up.
code Angry
No.
Streams.
No, don't start putting fake ads in here. Don't you dare. Get out of here. All right, I'm going to
That was
talk.
good, though.
LA 1979 says, you're a little late, but overlay strategic bases compared to the land the U.S. China has purchased. That could be another video. Yeah, China's been purchasing a lot of land around military posts, especially the missile silos.
Dude, that's fucking weird.
You want to hear what else is weird?
How are they able to do that?
Hold on.
How are they able, like, legitimately? Hang on. Am I low?
No, you're good.
Am I low, chat?
So here's another thing. They also, if I'm not mistaken, I believe China owns like 90% of the logging companies in Canada. Canada,
Shut the fuck up.
the largest exporter of lumber, if I'm not mistaken. So they own a bunch of like land around military posts, like farmland, whatever. And also, it's been popping up a lot, especially in the past 4 years. Chinese quote unquote students or tourists are like just walking onto military posts. I just did a video about it, I think it was last week, including some Lebanese guys and stuff like that. But either way, but mainly Chinese. Chinese is the biggest issue. Is they're just like
tourists or just like
they're
going up to
they're
Fort
pretending
Campbell.
to be tourists, and they're just like, we are here to take photos. You're like, you can't. This is a military post. You need to leave. Like, oh, okay, our bad. And then they just like try to do it again and again, and then a lot of them get arrested, and they find out that they were here illegally. Some of them came up through the southern border, and they're like kicking them out of military posts, and then kicking them out of the country because they came in illegally. So it's like, can we just go and be shut down for a little while, like post World War II, not Korea, not Vietnam, and just be like, you know what? We're gonna close the doors for a little bit. We're gonna do, some redecorating in the States. All right.
Yeah.
Backyard's looking a little dusty. All right. Let's revamp that. Let's get some hard stone in there. All right. Let's place raised gardens. You know what I mean? Some raised garden beds. Let's do that. And then
Gardens.
Yeah, gardens. And then after like, I don't know, maybe 10 years, we kind of go, all right, let's open up back to the world. Let's see what's going on here. Who needs a little bit of humanitarian aid?
Well, yeah.
Like I'm not saying be an
historically-
isolationist, but I really want to be an isolationist right now.
I would kill for it. I mean, I understand we have to have some sort of relationships globally on an economic and trade scale. That's fine. I'm just not for, nor will I ever be for, the investment of American resources of any kind, be they dollars or people or goods, into wars that have nothing to do with us, never-ending conflict. Things are hectic. You said it best. This has been the most dynamic presidency ever. Like I am exhausted. I miss, dude. Remember when we had the Johnny Depp thing? Remember how good stuff was when that was like the toughest thing?
The
Johnny
trial?
Depp, Amber Heard trial.
Yep.
That was. I miss those. I would love to go back to an obvious crazy woman lying about her husband the entire time in order to ruin his career to boost hers. I would love to go back to those days, but instead, we got people hurting my Florida vacation plans now. And the Russians are back in Cuba, like it's 1960, whatever the fuck.
Food prices are like triple what they were 3 years ago.
The dollar menu's $5, dude. What are we talking about?
Dude, $5 footlongs, it's $5 6-inch subs now. They've literally affected the. I'm not joking. It's their new commercials. It's been out for like months now. The economy is so bad. It's $5 6-inch subs now. This wasn't even that long ago. 6 years ago. The economy is so bad. We're losing half a foot of sub.
We used to be a country.
We used to be a real
said this?
country, man.
Who said this? Hang on, this is a good one. We went from pooping the bed to pooping our pants.
Shit in the bed to shit in our pants. I feel like shit in
Jim
the bed
Morrison.
is worse. Was it Blaze says, so nice of the Russians to drive their brand new submarine next to our ASW assets and attack submarine bases. I know, right? You think that listen, as much as I think that this is a flex, and it is, like it's 100% a flex, I don't know what else it is. There's definitely something else. They're not doing it just to show force, right? They're doing it to also gain intel and whatever, right? There's multiple reasons why they're doing it, and they're doing it. But as dumb as China is with their fucking balloons, being like,
Yep.
oh no, I hope no, these balloons happened by accident. There's like been 8 of them, dude. There's been a lot. It's been more than just 2. There's one that flew across the northern portion of the states. There's one that came up from Mexico. There's been a couple of them, right? We get more information from them trying to spy on us than they get spying on us, which is amazing. Like I'm so with that fantastic chat in there, like I guarantee you that we're like pinging and ponging radars and shit, and looking at these ships that are coming in and going like, oh my god, this is worse than their army fleet of now broken down tanks, etc.
Oh, for sure. Whatever they got, they're top of the line. We wouldn't even leave in Afghanistan. Let's be real. But that doesn't mean they're not dangerous. My grandfather once set me down, and he said, he looked at me and he goes, "Sonny boy, I've got something to tell you." And I go, "What is that, granddaddy?" And he goes, "Building 7. That doesn't make any sense to me."
What do you got?
No.
Jared Taylor on here now? You're just doing random jokes just to bring chaos into this? Is that what this is? You're making yourself laugh? This is great. Russia and Cuba do these exercises every year.
What he said to me is there's nothing more dangerous than a man who's got nothing to lose. That's kind of how I feel about Russia. That's really, it's a fact, because like they're in a war with Ukraine that's being funded. We don't know who rhymes with USA, that basically has no end in sight. So, like, what could they do to posture to make us kind of... I think we're, like, in a game of chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just, like, what are you going to do?
I hear you. Let me hit up some of these chats. I got Jacob saying that Syria was because Bashar wouldn't let us put in a pipeline from Qatar through Syria into Turkey and then onto Europe, which would all lower European dependency on Russian natural gas. I mean... I don't know what Syria has to do with that. Syria into Turkey? Oh, through Syria into Turkey? I guess. I mean, dude, that could be one of many reasons. I'm not saying that that's wrong. That's a new thing that I haven't heard of.
Did you see that thing with Tucker Carlson and Putin with the Nord Stream pipeline?
I tried to watch it all. I watched a bunch of it, and I skipped through like the first 50 minutes because it's all Putin talking about the history of Russia and how he thinks that Russia... as a historical, like the importance from his thing was, hey, Russia was this big at one point and it needs to be that big again, which is kind of fucked up.
Basis for all of his actions,
because Russia was also, oh my God, what do you call it? Where it's a king and queen,
monarchy.
Monarchy. Thank you. I was thinking oligarchy, but that's what
it is now.
It's basically what it is now. Yes, where it's the wealthy and companies get together, and the oil baron and the shipping baron get together and say, this is how I'd like to run the country in order to affect our business a little bit better. But it was a monarchy. And honestly, I think that's the last time that Russia was good, even though there were some problems. Like, since the monarchy, Russia's never been great. It's just been our wish America. You kind of have the rights. You've got a strong military, but it's just cheap.
Well, something happened once the Tsar's family was killed, and the Bolsheviks, I think it was, who replaced them. It just continued to make this weird kind of lack of culture and lack of like connection to the rest of the world. I mean, it just left them in a position to where, the Russians felt so oppressed and controlled underneath, the Tsar's family. Famously, I can't remember his name, but Anastasia, that's the girl. That's her. They were all like taken in a basement and killed, allegedly. And like it just continues to make this like weird situation where like the powerful rise and they just take advantage of everything around them. It's really weird when you think about it. And like there's a ton of like Disney movies about it. Like the whole Anastasia movie is like literally about like what's his name? Rasputin and everything, like taking over. It's crazy.
I mean, Rasputin didn't really take over. He's just a...
Well, no, like
weird.
The influence he had was like demonic and blah 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 blah.
The people that like think that Rasputin was like the super huge big deal that like controlled all this stuff is just like I always feel like his power is way over embellished.
For sure.
Imperial Girl says, "Here's $20 so that you and I can get a sub each."
Thank you so much. No. He was just tricking all of them. He was just like a guy being like, "Oh, I'm crazy," and like he gave like the czar's kid who was anemic. He like gave him some like very basic medicine that stopped him from bleeding. And they're like, "It's magic," you know. That was when magic was like the thing
Aspirin.
trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like aspirin, and then
Like, is this
"We've
your
never seen
card?
this."
He's a witch.
Yeah, he's a witch. Follow him. Make him head of state. The Romanov dynasty. That's what I was looking for. The Romanovs.
Yes, the Romanovs were the one.
Sub of gym floor mat bread. My family comes around Poland. We have hereditary papers, so I'm American, but could get shot in the back. Okay. He took the kid off aspirin. That's what it was. Yeah, he took the kid off the thing that was making him bleed even more because he was anemic. And they're like, the bleeding has stopped. And he's like, hey.
Yeah, like that was back when they were like, bleeding was a good thing. They were like, we need,
Yeah.
you have a cold. We need to get the bad blood out. And you're like,
Write down GW, dude.
what?
Yeah, they used to call it vapors. They would let the illness was referred to as vapors, so they would let the vapors out of you.
You mean the steam from my warm body? The Native Americans used to think that the steam rising out of a dead person's body was their soul. And you're just like, I mean, they don't steam on a 90-degree day, so do they not have a soul in the summer? Like, come on. Let me read this article from the Miami Herald right now that's talking about some of this shit. It's a group of Russian warships that sailed close to Florida shores have been closely watched by U.S. destroyers, and they entered the port of Havana on Wednesday morning ahead of Russian military exercises in the Caribbean. Do you say Caribbean or Caribbean? I say both.
I don't know.
I say it both ways.
I think it depends on the mood.
Right? If I feel like, I'm in the, like, I want to be Caribbean.
Yeah. I would say I like Pirates of the Caribbean. But I would say I would like some Caribbean jerk chicken.
There we go.
That's probably the difference.
Caribbean.
I would say
Caribbean Queen,
jerk.
heaven sent in the same name. That's a song. The Cuban Revolutionary Armed Forces officials, including deputy commander of the Revolutionary Navy of Cuba. Well, I love how they're always called revolutionaries. Dude, your communism won. You're not revolting anymore. You're just the commander of the Navy, Cuba. Settle down. Anywho, Cuba. The Russian ambassador to Cuba, Victor Corneli, and a crowd of Russian tourists and curious Cubans gathered at the famous Havana seaside promenade, to which the Russian missile frigate Admiral Gorshkov entered the port amid a 21-gun salute. Oh, that's nice. It also says that the top of the nuclear-powered submarine Kazan was visible outside of the Havana harbor before it submerged again. And official Russian government news agency reports that Wednesday that the Kazan, the modern nuclear submarine, is capable of quietly approaching U.S. shores within 50 kilometers, also known as not freedom units, and carrying out assigned combat missions within 50 kilometers. Okay. According to Mikhail, the head of the company that built it. Open source satellite data placed Russian warships just 26 nautical miles from Key Largo on Tuesday morning. Key Largo, Montego, Russians, why don't you go back to Russia now? You've got Ukraine and you can suck it now. No one likes you anyhow. Go back to Russia now. However, it's unclear. Private Russian news agency submarine is equipped with Zircon hypersonic missiles, which, by the way, are horseshit. Like, they said they were going to use their hypersonic missiles. They've been getting shot down by our Patriot missiles like that.
Boom.
Like,
also, really cool. Shout out to Patriot missiles. Great name, great missile.
Sponsor of this channel.
Keep on rocking. Yeah. Sponsor the channel.
For
Patriot
50%
missiles.
off of your Patriot missile system, use code AngryCops.
Hey, you looking to shoot down some stuff? Go to patriotmissiles.com. Use code AngryStreams for all of your Patriot missile needs. Now, let's get back to the show.
All right, stop. We're shilling for the industrial war thing. Oh, my God. The modern.
Wouldn't it be great if Raytheon was like, they just entered the chat and they were like, thanks, Rich.
Oh, wow. Here's $500,000. That's great.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice. Was it?
Nice.
The industrial war complex. What's it called again? What's the thing that everybody hates?
The military-industrial complex.
It's military-industrial complex. Thank you. I'm losing my mind.
You're thinking like the War Department.
The War Department was cool, and then it became the Department of Defense. To like, they're like, you know what? Let's look inward. There's some threats inward. Ugh. So the Zircon missiles, 9 times the speed of sound, which is yet to be proven. Nobody, that's fucking horse shit. 7,000 miles an hour, horse shit. That one could hit the States in seconds from Havana. Horse shit. However, it's unclear if the Kazan carried those missiles while visiting Cuba. Cuban authorities have said that, well, of course, I mean, every sub is going to carry its payload because that's the point of a sub. If you're out and you're doing your mission, you carry your shit in case it's needed. You don't just go, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to throw everybody on the ship with 0 weapons and just hope everything goes fine.
How long do you think they go underway with those subs? How long do you know?
I mean, for us, I know that like American subs can go under and stay under for like, I think it's a month, if not more.
That's gnarly.
I've heard stories, and this is just stories, right? I don't know my ass from the hole in ground when it comes to nuclear subs or any other sub, but I've been told that they only come up like once or twice for their tours, and their tours are like 6 to 8 months. So
yeah, that's insane.
So like I would assume that you can stay under for a couple months.
Chat, do you know? Let us know if you have any ideas. I really want to know. When I was in Norfolk, getting on the USS Nassau, I did see a sub like come up as it was like docking. And I just remember thinking like you could barely see it then. Like you could literally barely see it in the water. And I was like, that's insane.
It's like my wiener in a pool. You can barely see it. Barely see it in the water. Back to the Miami Herald. Let's see. The presence of Russian warships in Cuba, just 90 miles from U.S. shores, is seen as a gesture of defiance by Vladimir Putin. I agree. Who this week warned about taking asymmetrical steps and possibly of sending long-range weapons to third countries to attack Western targets after President Joe Biden allowed Ukraine to use U.S. weapons to strike inside Russia. I don't know if we allowed weapons to strike inside Russia, but they might have been used to do that. I think there was like a
that's
missile.
not Russia. I was thinking of that Wagner Group thing. Did you see that FOA that got released?
No.
Some guy got a distinguished cross, some combat controller for blowing up a bunch of dudes with the Wagner Group, but that was something different.
That was Syria. Yes.
That was Syria.
Syria. There was a big battle in Syria where well, they're pro-Assad and we were anti-Assad, but we were also there to like protect the pipelines. And I knew about the story before it happened because of my interesting, links with, some people in the special operations community. It's not like I know everything. But one of the people that happened to have like first or secondhand knowledge of it was like, here's the deal. Americans and Russians were like, hey, we're going to go stay on this side of this line and protect these different oil fields. If you come over here, please don't. And we're not going to go over there. But if there is, there's a line of communication open. And so one day, here comes all these fucking people over the hilltop, and it's not a Russian flag. And the Americans are like, and then they start shooting at the Americans, and the Americans are like, yo, even before they start shooting at the Americans, they're already making contact with the Russians. They're like, hey, are these your guys? And the rest are like, no, we don't have anybody over there. And they're like, are you sure that these are not your guys? Because there's military equipment that looks very you. It's you. Just without the flag. Are you sure this is not you just without the flag? And they're like, nah, it's not us.
Verify.
And then a combat controller made it fucking rain on them with close air support. I think they were less than a mile away. A couple of guys, if I'm not mistaken, I think either got shot, but I know a bunch of guys were engaging the enemy like with their rifles. Like they were close enough to there were, the mortar team was going off, artillery was going off, like the American side were firing artillery. And then like American gunships were just decimating the Wagner groups, and then they were just
300. That's what it's saying. 300 people.
Yeah, and not a single person shot. Like, you want to do conventional warfare with the United States? No, you don't. No, you don't. We're the most dangerous country in the world because we've been doing 20 years of insurgency, counterinsurgency. You want to take over the United States or come and attack us when you've got a third of the population that's so fucking hard for room clearing? You're insane. You're insane. That, and then our air superiority, nobody touches us in the air. Nobody touches us in the air.
Not even a chance.
Not even close. So now you've got not only the craziest population in the world, we are the globe's Pitbull, right? Russia is a Chihuahua. It's constantly angry and biting its shit. It's uncontrollable. We don't know why your grandparents keep it around. It's a hazard around the kids. But that's them. They're the Chihuahua, just spasming out every so fucking often and just biting your friends. You're like, what the fuck? Russia bit China. What the fuck? And then we're the nice Pitbull. We sit here and we're just like, Dad, what do you want us to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You want to let's go? You want to let's go? And then when the United Nations finally goes, all right, shit, we can't handle this. What do we do? All right, we'll send the Americans off the leash. And you go click, and the second that happens, it's just like, it's done. It's done.
It's over.
Absolutely done.
It's over, dude. We had one dude in the team wipe out 300.
Well, it wasn't just one dude, but he's definitely.
I mean, but like he was the guy who got the call. He did the close air support. Dude, can you imagine? Honestly, you're that close. You're like that close, and there's 300 dudes, and what? How many Americans? Probably double digits, maybe.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot.
And you're like, I hope I don't start World War III.
I mean, they did the right thing. They called up the Russians. Who were like, you, and they're like, no, this is not us. And are you sure? Definitely not us. Okay. Did we make did you kill everybody? We're getting some yeah, we killed everybody.
Yeah.
Oh
well.
Yeah, because there was a Wagner guy that like did an interview someplace, I forget when. It was like a 500-man element and like 180 made him back. Like that 300 isn't like 300 confirmed. It's like 300 and then some, you know, kind of got away and then died, and a lot more were wounded.
Well, we have an update from the sub chat. So Ebola said, just talked to a dude yesterday at a bar in South Carolina. Said he's about to go on rotation for an Ohio class sub. He said he was going for 3 months. That's our biggest sub, apparently, the Ohio class.
So let's say he's out for 3 months. And this is just going off
under. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They'll go out for 3 months and they'll stay under for 3 months. So
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that sucks.
Talk about stir crazy. Like, you got to be a special kind of guy to be on a sub and go, this is my house for the next 3 months. Like, that's all I'm seeing. I don't know what they do down there for like a gym. Like, I would assume
they have like treadmills on like rubber. They have like specific things because it's noise. I saw this somewhere. It was like a clip online. It's a treadmill that was like basically on like rubber joints, and everything was kind of like that because of sound. Like everything has to be like super insulated.
Well, I feel like if you're like going through an area with our good sonar and you're like, hey, there's a potential here, you probably flick a light that says maybe no treadmill for now. You know, I feel like that's treadmill. You know,
you're probably hot bunking. You're probably hot racking the whole time too.
What's that mean? Oh yeah, where you're swapping out. Yeah, you don't have a bed. You share a bed. That would make sense. I mean, it's a sub.
You would have to do. We have weights and treadmills.
Are we supposed to know this? Don't make me the new fucking War Thunder. All right, don't be sharing shit that we're not supposed to know. I'm sure if it's on a Discovery Channel or YouTube military account and it's already out there, all right, yeah, you go ahead and you share it. But
that's what I'm referencing. It was a clip on YouTube's.
Okay.
Showers are super tight. I bet, dude. I bet they shrink.
Yeah, I would imagine you just have a tube, and then it doubles as a torpedo tube. They just lift a tube up and then they open it up and you go ahead, fit in there, you know. And then they're like, wow, danger, and you better get out of that shower because it's gonna go horizontal, and then they're gonna shove a fucking torpedo in that tube.
I just want to know if anybody's seen anything weird when they're underway. If they've seen any mermaids or weird stuff.
You think they have windows on subs?
Well, no, something. I'm talking about like on radar and all that jazz. Like I'm saying, there's got to be something weird. I heard a stat online somewhere that we know more about space than we do about the ocean. That like only around 5% of the ocean is like known to us.
I feel like that's just some stupid shit that people put up so then they go like, see, the water's cool, we need to go underwater more. Like, yeah, we do. but 5% of the ocean floor is discovered. Really?
That's what I'm saying. That feels off. That feels off.
I think we have.
I'd say 25.
I think we have like the most of the ocean like sonared, because it's only so deep. Like the Marianas Trench is the deepest portion of the ocean, and it's like significantly deep. But the rest of the ocean is not like, it's like a mile, less than a mile deep, like half a mile deep. I'm talking on my ass here. I just remember this video going through that I was watching one time about like the average depths of the oceans. And I
35% done according to chat. Keep going.
All right. You want to see how you'd fit on a sub? You're 7'1". You would not. You just would not. Saddam had the 5th largest military in the world. That's true. But that's like the Russians saying that they've got like the best military. The second they put it into practice, they're ass whooped, and it's because their troops are shit. The best thing that the United States military has going for it is that it's an all volunteer military and people want to fucking do it, and that we're all motivated and that we're all very well educated. Because the Russian military doesn't put out information to its troops like we do. They have a big plane. They have a big plane that hovers overhead over the battlefield. They look at what's going on the battlefield. They radio down to battlefield commanders, and then the battlefield commanders tell the troops what to do. And the second, it's like the Civil War, the second that battlefield commander is wounded or taken out of action, that entire unit is fucked. They just sit there with their thumbs in their ass and go, hunker down, fellas. We got to wait for the new captain to replace us. And that's it. What were you just giggling at?
Civil War shit. That's some Civil War shit. That's crazy. I was giggling at Soup Sandwich saying they saw Tony Gonzalez's mom on radar. They mistook her for a whale.
Zing.
We did find an extinct squid or the like in the bottom of the ocean. A kid at over 20 yards with the adults reaching 100 or so. Do you see what I'm saying? 100 yards of squid? I'm not doing it, dude.
I wish there was something bigger. I'm honestly disappointed that whales are the biggest thing. Like the plankton eaters, there's no like massive carnivorous thing out there like the T-Rex, just underwater, some massive crocodile. I mean, not even a mega shark. I don't want a mega shark. I'm just talking about a new interesting thing that we should be like, oh, don't go there. There's a kraken.
Yeah, there's got to be at least one megalodon. I'm counting on it.
Let's see. I don't know if this was the Thunder, if it was the Thunder Thick Boy or somewhere else, but I heard that Russia only advertises the speeds of their missiles in a vacuum, not in an environment with an atmosphere, ... like Earth's atmosphere, which would make sense.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we fired off a missile in a vacuum. It goes this fast. Sweet. So no wind resistance, no friction, no heat on the tip of it from going that fast. People forget that. If you go through the air fast enough, it's frictionless. There are molecules in the air. Mm-hmm. Oxygen being one of them. Hydrogen, nitrogen. There's all these, elements that are in the air, including, water vapor. And you can actually heat shit up by going through the air fast enough because of the resistance or the friction.
Look at that. The more you know. You didn't think you'd learn about that when you hung out these two booms. But
the amount of random shit that I know, I'm amazing at quiz nights. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. You're amazing any night. Russian submarines and their crews compared to the rest of the world. Okay. Did they use Kamala's cackling as a sonar, or would that be high-pitched jammer? Oh, God. The megalodon lived in warm water, so 100% extinct, and we would have found new teeth. Wrong. I don't know if you saw the documentary of Jason Statham. There's a different ocean in the ocean.
Yes.
So Jason Statham and Dwight Schrute found the megalodon.
Boom.
As documented.
Underwater volcanoes scorching the water to boiling temperatures created a heat/warm climate. Mm-hmm. Megalodon lives. What about the creatures in the lava? I'm really disappointed that there aren't like gopher people too. It's time. Let's dig deeper. I want to see gopher people. And honestly, I feel like that 75% of the world being water is horseshit because the core of the world is not water. I mean, you go down a mile, right? That's dirt. There's dirt a mile down. And guess what? The Earth is more than a mile deep, baby. It's many miles. It's at least 5 miles deep. It's at least 5 miles deep.
It's at least 5. I'd say 6.
Yeah. I'd round up to 6.
Again, I was watching this documentary, Godzilla and King Kong.
I've heard of this.
Have you seen the new one? It's actually pretty good where they do a team up.
No.
Like
Dr. Kong and Dr. Zilla? Yes.
No, it's King Kong and Godzilla, and they team up against everyone. It's great.
How much are underwear gnomes? That's what I want to know. Where are the underwear gnomes going?
If the Earth is at least 5 feet deep, got that public education through Fletcher. Toxic Avenger freaking out. The gym babes. This is great.
Oh, the Toxic Avenger is so cool. Let's see. I'm going to read a little bit more.
They're making a new one.
Are they really?
With Peter Dinklage. Yeah, Toxic Avenger, the mop guy. Isn't that him?
Wait, he's going to be the Toxic Avenger? He can't be the Toxic Avenger is a man that's been like, he's had toxic waste put on him, and he's like made out of garbage. He's not a dwarf. He's not an LP. What?
Not an LP.
Yeah, little people. We call it little people. Although I don't know if that's appropriate anymore. I last time I heard it was. So hold on. Let me read some more Russian shit real quick. Last year, Air Force General Glenn Van Herk, solid name. At the time, the chief of the U.S. Northern Command told Congress that the Russian deployment of U.S. coasts of Yasin class, which is their class, cruise missile submarines like the Kazan, is causing growing concern. Not only the Atlantic, but we have them in the Pacific. It's just a matter of time, probably a year or two, before that's a persistent threat, 24 hours a day.
Okay, chat, I've got an update on the Toxic Avenger scoop. It is Peter Dinklage. Toxic Avenger 2023.
What?
The film premiered as an opening of Fantastic Fest on September 21, 2023. He played Winston Goose, a.k.a. the Toxic Avenger.
Is it going to come out, or is it just a teaser?
It says it's out.
I mean,
I don't know where
the
it's
Toxic
streaming.
Avenger 2023. What? Elijah Wood, Kevin Bacon, Peter Dinklage?
What? A cast? Where is it? Where to watch online?
Yeah, Elijah Wood's like the weird, creepy guy. What the fuck? I need to watch this. How it does not have a great rating.
It does not.
But I mean, it's not supposed to be, it's not supposed to be Shawshank Redemption. It's supposed to be like a funny, weird thing.
It's supposed to be gross and dumb and weird.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. It was gross and dumb and weird and funny. And because it was so gross, it was entertaining, It was like Garbage Pail Kids.
Mm-hmm. With the best.
Dude, they did a horrible job promoting this video. I would have watched it. Maybe not in theaters, but definitely streamed it.
I got a strong cast. Yeah, this is kind of upsetting.
Jacob Tremblay, Julia Davis.
The Garbage Pail Kids.
Dude.
Miss them.
This seems like a good movie. Now I want to watch it. All right, man. Well, it's 10:30. I think we've talked enough about Russian and world history today. So much so that we've got on the topic of the Toxic Avenger. So I'm going to call it. This is our weekly stream with our fantastic guest, our frequent flyer, Zach Bell, veteran with the sign. Zach, why don't you tell them where they can find you?
Veteran with a sign on all platforms, in particular YouTube. Go to the channel, drop a subscribe if you feel like you're into it. If you want to see the best podcast made by a veteran online, check it out, the After Action Podcast. My most viewed, most interacted with, top on all levels episode is with none other than the king of the North, Buffalo's favorite son, Angry Cops.
That's right.
I loved every second of it. It's a good time.
I forgot
we
that
talk
nickname.
About everything. We solve a few problems. It's a good time. It's a good place. Thank you all for being here. Everyone who follows Rich honestly directly contributed to helping me and my family so much. I love you all. You have no idea. It does not go unnoticed, and I greatly appreciate all of you, and I love you.
Zach, you know what? We never finished the joke. We did the teaser at the beginning of your video, and it says, and I say, hey, I know how to end Euphoria, and you cut it out. So I'm going to say it right now. Hey, but you're going to ask me how. Hey, Zach, I know how to end Euphoria. You want to know how I end it?
No.
A school shooting. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm signing off and signing out. Thanks for joining me, you bunch of weirdos. Angry-cops.com. You're going to support me on Patreon. If you want to buy a shirt, the best way to support the channel is to buy a shirt. The easiest way is to leave a comment. Share it with a battle buddy. Let them know that you care and you think about them and that they need to join in on this weird fucking community that we've created here. Zach, you want to say goodbye?
Thank you.
Too bad.
Ciao.